This is Precinct 30, located in the fire station in Heacon Park on Memorial Drive. We're going to talk to the precinct workers and find out voter attitude, whether there have been any problems, just what the situation has been with the voters today. You ladies do what?
We're the poll book holders.
And the person, when they enter the precinct, the first people they see are you two.
That's right.
And we have one Democrat and one Republican. Of course, this is what? To balance it out and make sure that everything is okay.
Right.
Good. Have you had any problems with the voters today?
No, we haven't had it.
What kind of a problem could arise here at the registration table?
Well, if they aren't registered, they wouldn't be in the book. They wouldn't be allowed to vote in this precinct.
And then they go from here where?
Uptown, the registration office.
No, I mean from your table they go over to these other ladies, and this is for what purpose?
Well, their name has to be in that book, and they sign their name and address and state their politics, and then they go on to vote.
Betty Romack is inspector here at Precinct 30. Betty, your purpose is to inspect what?
Well, I see that all the books are taken care of and the tally sheets are taken and the absentee ballots are voted.
Are there Democrat and Republican inspectors or just one inspector?
Well, inspector is neutral. Your party difference, you aren't that day.
I see. And this doesn't create any problems?
No. We all get along very well here on both sides.
As an inspector, have you found any irregularities or anything unusual here at Precinct 30?
No, not too much. We've gotten along real good.
Have you been an inspector before?
Yes. This is about my third time.
What are some of the problems you could run into?
Oh, well, I can't say that we run into too many here. We all get along good, and everybody's willing to cooperate and help each other. And
What are some of the problems you would have to settle?
well, if somebody comes in that we know that doesn't live in our precinct to challenge it, or we had a fellow this morning that had moved, but he was honest enough to tell us. So
You know, Governor Brannigan and Senator McCarthy have invited the crossover of Republican votes into the Democratic ranks. Has that situation arisen here?
Not to my knowledge.
No one has been challenged.
No.
But this would be your job in the event they were.
Yes, it'd be my job to see that it was taken care of or do the best I could.
What are some of the questions the voters ask you?
None, as of right now.
Do you ask the voter questions?
No, we don't. They go through the poll book. If they're registered, we take care of the voter. They sign in here.
I see. And your job is?
It's the same thing as she is, first clerk. And
Will you check each other?
no, she and I are both the first clerks, and we take turns here at the poll book, and we make sure that they declare their politics.
Do people make many mistakes when they write their name and address?
No,
Would you disqualify them if they did?
no,
Can you cross out the book?
no.
If they should make a mistake in their address, could you cross it out and have them write in the correct address?
They have changed. I mean, as long as it's in the same precinct, then they're still eligible if their address is differently.
Thank you. And what is your job?
My job is second clerk.
What does second clerk do?
Well, we take care of marking down in the primary, especially where they are a Democrat or a Republican for the year.
Do people dislike telling you this during a primary?
Sometimes, but they haven't been too much bother today.
Have you had any who have voted one party and changed over?
Oh, several.
How are they changing today? More
I can't tell
Democrat?
you that.
You can't tell me that. Why can't you tell me that?
Because we signed an oath when we started that we're not supposed to reveal.
You're a good one, too. You live up to it, don't you?
Yes, I try to.
Good. Good. Thank you. What is your job?
I'm second clerk too. I do the same thing she does. I look up their names and write Democrat or Republicans.
Good.
Whatever.
She wouldn't tell me how. You tell me how they changed.
Well, I can't tell you that either.
But there were a few that did change.
Well, I don't know. Really, I hadn't paid that much attention.
But you do keep track, don't you? Actually, how a person votes in a primary is kept in this record book right here, and you can tell for how many elections back.
Oh, way back.
Way back.
Oh, way back.
Way back, huh? Thank you. You two ladies are judges here at Precinct 30, and you actually ask the people their political preference, then you set the machine, they're allowed to go in. And once you set it, if a person says they're Republican, they go in, they cannot vote any other way, is that correct?
Not in the primary.
Do you have any problems with these machines? Do people find them confusing?
No, we haven't had too much trouble.
That's so. Have they been taking quite a bit of time? You know, we have a lot of candidates. Have they been taking a lot of time?
Quite a lot, more than usual.
Do they seem to be confused or just thinking? Do you think they give serious thought to the candidates?
I think they're giving more serious thought.
Any indication of how they vote? Can you tell in any way?
No.
You know, they had a machine in one of the northern Indiana precincts, this is several years ago, and it had an odd ring to it, or a little click, some identification sound where they knew what party the people were voting for. Have we ever had that situation here?
I've never had it. Yeah, we get the click, but that is not anything concerning which party.
I see. Do people reluctant to tell you their party before going to the machine?
I had a bit of trouble today, which is unusual.
That's so. People usually reluctant to tell you this?
There are a few that are reluctant.
Yes. Belligerent.
Belligerent? How belligerent do they become?
Well, they almost refuse sometimes, but today we've not had that problem.
Then you call the inspector?
No, we can usually handle it ourselves.
I'll bet you can. You've seen many people outside the precincts, and I'm sure you wonder what some of them do. It's obvious what most of them do, and that's pass out literature. Others just observe and visit with those who working for candidates and so forth. So let's find out what this group is doing here at Precinct 30.
Hi, Jim.
Hi. What are you doing here?
Just observing.
Good. And your name is?
Charles Richmond.
And Charles, you sound like you're on the police department. What are you doing? Observing or working? Are you allowed to work for a candidate?
No, I'm not working for no candidates, just going around watching what's going on.
Good. What is your impression of this? Turn it around so the camera can see you.
It's going to be a pretty heavy vote from the precincts that I've been in so far. They're all coming out good. And don't know how she's going to go on the Democrat side, but it's going to be a pretty heavy vote.
You're a Democrat?
Right.
Good. Thank you very much. I think this gentleman is a Republican. If you recognize him out of uniform, he's Chief Sheriff's Deputy, right?
That's right.
Marion Cunnington. Marion, what are you doing at Precinct 30?
Well, I'm here trying to learn what the precinct committeeman is supposed to do. Will be precinct committeeman in this precinct.
First time?
Election. That's right. It's the first time. And I'm here to try to learn the job more than anything else today.
We have different factions in the Democratic Party regarding a precinct contest, but there don't seem to be any in the Republican Party. You see any trouble in the Saturday election of the county chairman?
I don't personally think there'll be any problem in the election Saturday, the way it looks right now. The only reason that I ran against Mr. Ritchie because he requested that he did not care to run again. So I'm going to try to fill his shoes in this precinct.
Thank you. Mr. Ritchie, you've been in politics a long time. You've been precinct committeeman. What is your opinion of the election?
I think it's going to be pretty heavy in this precinct, although this precinct is not known to be a heavy precinct. There's about 3-1 here.
You know, they were talking about the crossover vote. Do you think that it's going to be evident in this election?
No, I don't, Jim. I think that's a lot of propaganda. I think there will be a certain amount of it, but not enough to hurt anything.
And how about the presidential candidates? How do you think that will end up? In what order? Say the Democrats, that seems to be creating the most interest.
Today's election, I think McCarthy and Nixon. Kennedy come in second, the Democrats.
Well, that's surprising. That's surprising. And Brannigan third, apparently.
That's right.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Ritchie. That's a very interesting observation. This gentleman here is not running for any office, but by golly, his man was just picked to come in second. This gentleman over here, a former precinct committeeman for the Republican Party, picked Kennedy for second. What do you think of that?
Well, I think McCarthy will come in second. From all the rumors I've heard from the other precincts this morning, Senator Kennedy seems to be doing pretty well.
You're passing out Kennedy literature. Why do you do this? Are you paid for it?
No, it's strictly on a voluntary basis.
Why did you volunteer? What attraction does Kennedy have for you?
Well, Senator Kennedy seems to just express the views that I hold myself.
Can you vote?
No, sir.
When will you be eligible to vote?
2 years from now.
Do you think that there has been a comment made that the senator might be looking forward to the next presidential election, 1972? What do you think?
I think this is very possible.
Would you vote for the senator then?